Alright, so how would I rank the 9 best animated feature Oscar wins of the 2000s? Hey guys, it's Brian. Welcome to the awards contender. Are you ready for me to rank Oscar wins of the 2000s? I spent many months last year ranking a bunch of winners of the 2010s, and now it begins. I have so much fun content for you over the next few months, ranking everything from animated feature to screenplay, to the acting categories, to picture. It's all coming your way over the next few months. I thought we would start with animated feature, which I did rank like the 2010s, and now we have the 2000s, and this is it, Best animated feature at the Academy Awards started in 2002. So we only have a little over 20 years of this category. And boy, guys, looking at the winners those first few years, it's very impressive. There's not really a stinker here in the bunch. Maybe one movie I don't care for that much, but I mean, this was tough, especially in the top 5 slots. These are absolutely wonderful movies, and just because I might rank one at number 7 or number 5 or something, that doesn't make it bad, There might be some films I prefer over others. This is my personal ranking. So, the best animated feature Oscar winners of the 2000s. How would I rank them? Let's start with number 9, Happy Feet.
This is the end of the road. It's over. You did everything penguinly possible.
So this to me is the obvious number 9 in this list. I mean, there might be more fans of Happy Feet out there, than I realize, but I saw that movie once. I think I saw it after it had played in theaters. And, after a while, it just kind of became background noise a little bit. I mean, to be honest, Robin Williams voices a penguin in that. So, there's good stuff in Happy Feet. It's George Miller, the great George Miller. Very eclectic, I would say, right? The guy directed The Witches of Eastwick, Lorenzo's Oil, the Mad Max movies. But then he's also been a part of some children's fare too, right? Not just the 2 Happy Feet movies, but Babe and Babe Pig in the City. So it's been a very diverse career, I would say, for George Miller. Didn't I read a quote, someone asked him if he would do a 3rd Happy Feet movie? And he said something like, I'd rather die. he said, no. Effing no, I'm not doing that. So I don't think he had the best experience making those 2 movies. That year, we had Cars and Monster House. I think the easy winner for 2006, an animated feature at the Oscars, should have been Monster House. That movie is so delightful, so much fun. Cars, yeah, the 3 Cars movies are not my favorite. I mean, I recognize that opening weekend of Cars. I was yeah, it's good, but it's not as great as most of their films have been. So it makes sense to me why Cars ultimately didn't win the Oscar here, that it went to Happy Feet, and that film's solid, I guess. I haven't really thought about it since. It's not a terrible movie, but of these 9 wins in animated feature, I do think it's a very easy call to place this right at the bottom.
I asked my kids, what should I say? They said, thank all the men for wearing penguin suits.
Number 8, Shrek.
Take a look at me! What am I?
Really tall?
So everything else in this list I like or love. Shrek, it's a very famous, fun film. I saw it twice in theaters. It's very, very funny and imaginative, and the voice cast is excellent, and there was something really fresh about Shrek in the summer of 2001. We hadn't really seen a movie like that, an animated movie, with so many topical references and so subversive throughout. It really kind of threw Disney under the bus in many scenes, and it was really clever. So why do I rank Shrek at number 8? I thought about putting it at 6 or 5 or something, but just compared to the other winners, I don't think it's as strong as the others. I do think the sequels have diluted Shrek a little bit. Shrek 2 is very good, but Shrek 3 and Shrek 4, I don't even know if I saw Shrek 4. I mean, just like I heard nothing but bad things. So I don't think the follow-ups to Shrek have really helped that movie's legacy. I don't think like watching Shrek 1 now would be the greatest experience. I feel like some of that humor would be kind of dated. So even though that's a solid film, I mean, I really like Shrek. I couldn't put it anywhere above 8 ultimately. So this was the very first movie to ever win the Oscar for Best Animated Feature, early 2002. The other nominees were Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius, and Monsters, Inc. Monsters, Inc. is not one of the very best Pixar movies, but personally, I would have given the Oscar that first year to Monsters, Inc. over Shrek. That's just me. I've seen Monsters, Inc. a few more times, and I really adore that film. I love like Billy Crystal and John Goodman, the voice actors in the lead roles, and that's a really fun movie. Yeah, with Pixar dominating in this category the way it did that first decade of the Best Animated Feature Oscar, it does surprise me a little bit that Monsters, Inc. didn't get it, especially with that movie coming out at the end of 2001. Whereas Shrek came out in May. So that showed you the staying power of Shrek. Again, there's a lot to really enjoy about the first Shrek, and this is a solid winner for Best Animated Feature at the Oscars. The very first win, that's really cool. I don't think it's one of the all-time great victories in this category.
The amazing directors, Andrew Adamson and Vicki Jensen, our incredible cast, Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, Cameron Diaz, and John Lithgow.
Number 7, Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbits. So, this is a film I saw in Dusseldorf, Germany. In the fall of 2005, I studied abroad overseas for a few months, and there was one theater in Dusseldorf that played like English language movies. I think they devoted like one screen where you could watch films in English. And I remember a big group of us. There were like 10, 12 of us maybe in the program who went to like the Friday night screening of the new Wallace and Gromit movie. And it was a thrill. Like, I love anything like Halloween themed in animation. I really enjoy that. And Wallace and Gromit, like one of the great like animated franchises ever made. I mean, I remember discovering the short films when I was young, like in the 90s, and just being completely bowled over, like so amazed by the animation, by the storytelling. And then they moved into features. We just got a new feature, Vengeance Most Foul, which won in Best Animated Feature at BAFTA and got the Oscar nomination, ultimately losing to Flow. But so yeah, Wallace and Gromit has been a part of my life since I was a kid. And for one of those movies to win the Oscar for Best Animated Feature is really great. I mean, I have this ranked as low as I do, just because compared to some of the other movies, I don't think it's quite as strong and as memorable, Like, I saw the Wallace and Gromit Were-Rabbit movie once, and I haven't had a desire to revisit it. I remember really enjoying it at the time in 2005. I laughed my ass off. It's very creative, and again, like the horror element of it, I thought was really cool, especially like for those two characters to be a part of a spooky story. And for that to win the Oscar, I really enjoy that. I thought about ranking this a little bit higher. I can't do it. Like compared to the other 6 I'm still going to talk about, I just don't think it's quite as strong. And it is kind of amazing, I would say, that the Wallace and Gromit film at the 2006 Oscars in this category beat out Corpse Bride, by Tim Burton, such a great movie, and Howl's Moving Castle by Miyazaki. Like, that's a pretty good category, man. Any one of those 3 could have taken this. I do think Howl's Moving Castle is the best of the three that probably should have won here over Wallace and Gromit, but Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Were-Rabbit is also a terrific win in this category. Again, I am so thrilled that a Wallace and Gromit movie has taken Best Animated Feature at the Oscars.
Somebody once said, if you make a bad film, you make it alone. If you make a great film, everybody made it with you. We all made it together, guys.
Number 6, The Incredibles.
Ow! Violet! It's not my fault! Dash ran away and I knew I'd get blamed for it and I thought he tried to sneak on the plane.
So it just keeps getting harder, like this ranking, I kind of want to just put all of them at number 1 and call it a day. Have this be my shortest video ever, 2.5 minutes. I say, you know what, guys? I'm just not going to rank them. They're all great. Let's just put them all at a tie for number 1 and call it good. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time at the awards contender. Part of me was like, how do I rank these movies? They're most of these are great. And it hurts my heart a little bit to rank The Incredibles from 2004 by Pixar at number 6. In some ways, I feel like that should be number 2, number 3. But again, it's Pixar had such a remarkable run in the 2000s. Yeah, I have it this low, mainly because I'm not as emotionally invested in that film and those characters the way I am with the other Pixar movies I'm about to talk about. I still love The Incredibles. It is just a great time at the movies. So much great humor and action and drama and high stakes and that third act. I mean, you were just holding your breath. We weren't inundated with constant superhero movies every few weeks. We weren't. That was the year of Spider-Man 2. We had that in the summer. But we didn't have Marvel movies yet. That started with Iron Man in 2008. So it wasn't every few months we were getting tons and tons of superhero content. To see a superhero film told by Pixar, right? Told in computer animation and done this frickin' well by Brad Bird, the great Brad Bird. I mean, he gave us 2 monumental Pixar films in the 2000s. He also gave us The Iron Giant in 1999, one of the best movies of that year. My choice for the best year we've ever had for movies. So yeah, Brad Bird, so talented. What he brought to The Incredibles, is really something else. It's definitely a better winner in this category than Shrek 2 or Shark Tale would have been. I mean, this one's pretty easy. Of course, the Best Animated Feature Oscar for 2004 was going to The Incredibles. I just couldn't rank it higher, guys. Don't come at me. Don't be mad. Don't leave real threatening comments and say, I'm never watching your YouTube channel again. How dare you? That's the best animated feature of the 2000s, Brian. You are stupid. Just try to contain yourselves. I really, truly love The Incredibles. I mean, I would say I love that movie. And for me to rank it this low is pretty shocking, but yeah, that's just the way it works in this video. Sorry.
I don't know what's more frightening, being watched by millions of people or the hundreds of people that are going to be annoyed with me tomorrow for not mentioning them tonight.
Number 5, Spirited Away.
How could you be so cruel? Can't you share? Suck on the tail!
So if you didn't hate me already ranking The Incredibles at number 6, you're probably just going off at this point. When I rank Spirited Away at number 5, I bet many of you would rank that movie at number 1. You'd probably say it's number 1. Here's the thing with Spirited Away. I just watched it for the first time a couple nights ago. I had never seen Spirited Away. That film came out in the fall of 2002. I was a senior in high school, and apparently that was a very busy year for me because for whatever reason, I never saw the winner of Best Animated Feature at the Oscars for 2002. I should have, I should have seen that movie earlier. But going through the list a couple nights ago, I was like, I have never seen Spirited Away. I have seen clips, I am aware of like what the movie's about. I knew of certain characters as I was finally watching the movie. But what a thrill it was, guys, 2 nights ago to watch Spirited Away in full, all 2 hours of that just creatively incredible film. I was just in awe for those 2 hours, seeing all of that ambition, all of that imagination sprawled across the screen. I love the sense of mystery in that first act, the main character, like you really root for her, going throughout that adventure, and you want her to do well, you want her to be okay. There's a sense of joy in that film, a sense of danger throughout that works beautifully, and by the end, like, I realized I had gone on a journey, man. That was a journey, and I feel like if I had seen this movie when I was younger, if I owned it over here, I watched it every few years, I had seen it a few times, maybe I would have this ranked higher. Maybe if I were to do this ranking 10 years from now, and I've seen Spirited Away a few more times, maybe I would have it higher. I'm just not as emotionally invested in Spirited Away the way I am in the top 4 choices I have in this ranking. That's the only reason, really, I have it at number 5. Because I am so happy that Miyazaki's films have won twice now at the Oscars in this category, The Boy and the Heron more recently, and then in just the second year of animated feature at the Oscars, Spirited Away. In a rare category that first decade that had 5 nominees, not just 3. I don't know why for the second year they had 5 instead of 3, because you have to go all the way to 2009 when they expand the field of nominees for animated feature to 5. There's some good nominees for 2002. I think Lilo and Stitch was probably in second place. That's a great movie, obviously still beloved to this day. You also had Ice Age that year. You had the underrated Treasure Planets and another film with the word spirits in the title. I never saw that one. But yeah, Spirited Away was the rightful winner here. What a dazzling work of animated storytelling.
Hayao Miyazaki, and accepts this on his behalf. Thank you so much.
Number 4, Up.
What? That's it? I came all this way just to get stuck at the wrong end of this rock pile?
What an extraordinary movie this is. That run of Pixar, I would say from 2007 to 2010 is quite something. Like after Toy Story 3 2010, I assumed Pixar would never fail, At the absolute worst, they would deliver just a very good movie, not a great one. And then 2011, we got Cars 2. Which I still think might be the worst Pixar movie ever, was Cars 2. I didn't see it in the theater. I rented it when it came out because I had heard mixed things. And I did not finish that thing, guys. I don't think I finished Cars 2. I was like, I'm good. This isn't working for me. But that run from 2007 to 2010 is great. And Up, even though I would rank this at the bottom of those 4 movies, mainly because there's nowhere for Up to go but down, right? At least a little bit, I would say, after that phenomenal opening 10 to 15 minutes. The opening of Up is some of the best work Pixar has ever done. Telling a romance between 2 people over the course of, 6 or 7 minutes? It's like a short film. And you are just gone at the end of the opening of Up. It's so sad. It's so beautifully done, so tender. Your heart just breaks at the end of that segment. And then after that, Up is a great movie. After that, Up is like an 8 out of 10, maybe 8.5 out of 10. The adventure aspect is really fun. I love the voice work by Ed Asner, as Carl. He's phenomenal in that. And there's good humor, good emotion throughout the rest of the movie. But I think in some ways, Up starts so strong that the rest of the movie just was always going to falter a little bit. And that's why I rank Up at number 4. and not 3 or 2 or 1 or something. But it's still like one of the great movies of 2009. It got into Best Picture at the Oscars. Remember that? 2009, they expanded it from 5 nominees in picture to 10, and Up became only the second animated movie ever to be nominated for the Best Picture Oscar, so well deserved. Because it got nominated in Best Picture that year, we all knew it was going to win Animated Feature, even though the lineup for Animated Feature for 2009 is really impressive. You have Coraline, which is a terrific film. You have Fantastic Mr. Fox by Wes Anderson. I love that movie. The Princess and the Frog, the big fall release from Disney, and The Secret of Kells. So, like, I mean, there was competition there, I would say. But Up was just, it was just so far out in front, especially, I'd say, with that picture nomination, that it was always winning this. It's a great win, you know, so well deserved. It's such a beautiful film in a variety of ways, like on a visual level, on an emotional level. That opening of Up, I mean, I have taught that scene in classes before. Like, this is how you tell a story in just a few minutes that has a beginning, middle, and end, and that can make everybody in the audience weep uncontrollably. Up is a wonderful movie. I'm so happy it won the Oscar for Best Animated Feature.
Never did I dream that making a flip book out of my 3rd grade math book would lead to this. Boy.
Number 3, Ratatouille.
I think you are a sneaky, overreaching little...
I mean, what is there not to love about Ratatouille from 2007 by director Brad Bird again? Brad Bird made both The Incredibles and Ratatouille for Pixar within like 3 years of each other. I mean, that's pretty great. I think he came into Ratatouille a little bit later. I don't think he was involved with that one right from the beginning, but you can definitely still feel Brad Bird all throughout that film, like throughout the storytelling and, you know, with all the humor and imagination. Ratatouille is just an all-timer animated movie. I remember seeing that opening weekend. I had just graduated from college, like a few weeks before, and I was visiting family, and we all went out to see Ratatouille, like that Sunday or whatever. And I still remember just looking over, seeing my dad like laughing hysterically, my mom crying toward the end, and we were just so impressed by that movie. Every single aspect of Ratatouille, the sense of place, the characterization, that ending moment with the food critic, you know, who takes his first bite of Ratatouille. And we have that image of him as a kid, how the taste of that food brought him back to childhood. I mean, that moment in Ratatouille, I have never forgotten. I think about it all the time. It's just a fantastic, creative story, beautifully told all the way through. There was no doubt in anyone's minds that it was going to win the Oscar for Best Animated Feature up against Persepolis and Surf's Up. I mean, maybe Persepolis had a small chance, I'm not sure, but Ratatouille is the obvious winner there, I would say. It's just such a great movie in the hands of different storytellers. Maybe it could have crashed and burned, you know? Like an animated feature film about a rat, you know, who wants to be a chef. Like, that could have gone in 20, 30 different ways, and it might not have worked with the wrong script, the wrong filmmakers, but I mean, Pixar, by then, we could really count on them to deliver, and they delivered big time with Ratatouille.
I also want to thank my junior high guidance counselor for a meeting we had where he asked me, "What do you want to do with your life?" And I said, "I want to make movies."
Number 2, Wall-E. Okay, now we are at the absolute cream of the crop, you know, of animated films ever made. You know, forget the 2000s, forget animated feature Oscar. Like, these top 2 films are probably in my list of 10 favorite animated movies of all time. These 2 movies I'm talking about here at the end are phenomenal works of animation storytelling. And why do I have Wall-E at number 2 and not number 1? There's literally no other reason other than I just slightly prefer my number 1 choice. I mean, talk about taking a huge narrative swing with Wall-E. Opening a giant like Pixar animated feature film of the summer, like as a silent movie, like as like a very, very quiet film, seeing this robot, going about his day. Like it's not really until the second half where Wall-E becomes a bit more of a traditional Pixar story adventure. Like it takes a while to really get going. And that's what I love so much about Wall-E, the restraint. And it's just from beginning to end, so lovely to look at. Everything visually in Wall-E is just breathtaking. The sound design work is extraordinary. The score, the ending of Wall-E, it's one of the great Pixar movie endings ever. You have the sly commentary of where our civilization might be going, It's pretty accurate, I would say, right? The idea that a lot of us, in decades to come will just be all fat and laying down, like staring at screens. Back in 2008, they were saying something in that movie that is like, with each year that passes, I mean, it's kind of coming true, if we're gonna be honest. I'm so happy it was a blockbuster hit. I'm so happy it won the Oscar for Best Animated Feature. I think most of us thought it was going to happen. If in Best Picture for 2008, they had had 10 nominees instead of 5, Wall-E absolutely would have made it in, along with The Dark Knight. Hello. But at least it could win this over not much competition, I would say. Bolt and Kung Fu Panda. Yeah, Wall-E was winning this. I was shocked to learn a few minutes ago I do not have Wall-E on my Blu-ray DVD shelf. I don't know how that came to be. I thought I bought it at some points, but it's not there. And I know there's a Criterion disc of Wall-E, right? Like a Criterion Blu-ray. I am going to pick that up very soon, and I'm going to watch this extraordinary film over and over again.
I'd be remiss if I did not thank my high school drama teacher, Phil Perry, for 28 years ago casting me as Barnaby in Hello, Dolly.
And finally, that takes me to the number 1 choice in the 2000s of the 9 films that won Best Animated Feature at the Oscars that decade. What do I think is number 1? The best? This is one of my favorite animated movies of all time. My choice is Finding Nemo.
At Palace.
Fissurama.
Mail order!
eBay. So, which one is it?
I'm from the ocean.
Ah, the ocean. The ocean! Ah!
So this might not be your choice for number 1. It might not even be 2 or 3. Before recording this, I found a ranking video of everything that's won Best Animated Feature at the Oscars, and they had Finding Nemo at like number 17. I was like, what? Are you freaking crazy? Finding Nemo, for me, is an all-timer masterpiece. I love that film with my whole heart. I have seen that thing at least 10 times, maybe like 12 or 13 even, and it just always fills me with joy every second of that film. The storytelling is brilliant. It is absolutely hilarious. It is emotionally moving and devastating on so many occasions, starting with that opening scene, the story of a father going after his son. I think about my relationship with my dad when I watch Finding Nemo. I just think that story is so special, and the way it balances all the humor and emotion, all of those characters, it's absolutely gorgeous to look at. Like by 2003, Pixar was really refining their visual look. From Toy Story in 95 to Monsters, Inc. in 2001, it just kept getting better and better. And then I will never forget watching Finding Nemo opening nights and just being awestruck by the visuals alone. Forget everything else, the story, the humor, everything else. Just visually, in 2003, Finding Nemo was something else, y'all. It was unbelievable. And for the story, the screenplay, the voice acting, the pacing to be as perfect as they all were, I mean, that movie is so freaking great. I was mad it didn't get a Best Picture Oscar nomination that year, even in a field of 5. I think Finding Nemo was worthy of getting into picture. More than 20 years since that film's release, I still put it in the top 5 best Pixar movies ever. Easily, I would say. You know, I mean, there was Finding Dory in 2016, and that was fun, but, you know, that movie is definitely at a lower level. I think Finding Nemo is just one of their crown jewels ever. And it's a great win for Best Animated Feature. Brother Bear was also in the category. That film's okay. The Triplets of Belleville. That's a fun movie. I saw that in the theater. I took my younger brothers, and they were like just baffled. They were like, what is this movie? But I really liked it. That's a great nomination. But I think the right movie won, Finding Nemo by Andrew Stanton. I mean, what a creative force Andrew Stanton is. My choices for number 1 and number 2 in this ranking video were both made by Stanton. He also directed WALL-E. So yeah, like what a special artist he is. And these 2 films he gave us in the 2000s are 2 of the best so far this century. I love WALL-E, of course, but my choice for the number 1 Best Animated Feature Oscar winner of the 2000s is Finding Nemo.
And to my wife, Julie, I wrote it to you in a note in 8th grade, and now I can say it in front of 1 billion people. I love you.
Thanks so much for watching and subscribing, and let me know in the comments below, how would you rank those 9 films that won the Oscar for Best Animated Feature that decade, and I'll see you next time at the Awards Contender.